What if I told you that the most dangerous part of a relationship isn't cheating, or even lying, but those subtle, seemingly innocent comments a woman makes that reveal her true nature? And what if I told you that ignoring those signs could be the biggest mistake of your life? Relationships rarely implode in a single moment. They fall apart slowly, word by word, step by step. If you don't learn to recognize the 5 deceptively simple phrases women use, ones that signal manipulation, disrespect, and emotional instability, you're walking straight into a trap. So let me ask you, do you truly know the warning signs? Or are you letting attraction blind you from the reality? Because a single wrong relationship can cost you your confidence, your future, even your sanity. If you're serious about not wasting years of your life, if you want to stay grounded and in control, then listen closely. When a woman uses these 5 phrases, you need to walk away. Why do so many men feel powerless in their relationships today? Why do they chase, they beg, they tolerate what should be unacceptable, only to be left discarded, disrespected, or stuck in dynamics where they're never enough? Here's the reason. They haven't learned the core truths of attraction, of respect, of what it actually means to be a man who's worthy of being loved. Let me be brutally honest. Love isn't something you can demand. Respect isn't earned by sacrificing your dignity. And no, you won't attract a strong, loyal woman by being weak, hesitant, or scared to set limits. But that's the exact trap so many men fall into. They think that by pleasing her, giving endlessly, and denying their own needs, they'll receive love in return. That's not love. It's self-inflicted slavery. What happens when a man has no backbone in a relationship? When he avoids confrontation, when he lets his partner's emotions rule his entire life? I'll tell you. He's not truly loved, he's tolerated. And eventually he's cast aside. Because a man who doesn't respect himself won't be respected by anyone. This is a psychological truth. Women, whether they say it or not, are drawn to strength. Not brute force but moral clarity. Mental steadiness. Integrity that doesn't shake. A man who knows exactly who he is, what he stands for, and what he will or won't allow. And yet so many of you are terrified of that strength. Afraid to stand firm. Afraid that setting boundaries means you'll lose her. But let me ask, what exactly are you holding on to if the only way to keep her is by losing yourself? When a man avoids conflict, fears expressing his truth, and suppresses his identity just to keep the peace, he's no longer a partner. He's a servant. And no woman truly falls for a servant. Now compare that to the kind of man who commands respect. Not through arrogance or force, but through calm certainty. A man who walks with confidence, not because he's pretending, but because he's built himself into someone unshakable. He doesn't chase love. He doesn't beg for approval. He doesn't bend his values for fleeting affection. And what happens? He becomes magnetic, unignorable, because real confidence is rare. Certainty is rare. And so is the courage to stand by your own standards. That kind of man isn't afraid of being alone, because he knows that being alone with self-respect is better than being in a relationship that destroys it. If you don't respect yourself, if you allow yourself to be disrespected, if you endure what should be unacceptable, you're teaching her exactly how to treat you. The second she realizes you value her more than your own dignity, the attraction begins to fade. Because no one can love someone they don't respect. And yes, some of you will argue, but love is about sacrifice, about compromise. Sure, to an extent. But love is not about erasing your identity, your values, or your self-worth. Compromise isn't abandoning yourself for someone who won't meet you halfway. If you want to be loved, become someone worthy of love. That means becoming strong, focused, disciplined. It means walking away when you're not appreciated. It means never apologizing for demanding respect. Because the moment you accept less than what you deserve, you've told the world that's all you're worth. Let me ask again. What if I told you that the words a woman says to you can predict the future of your relationship? That in just a few statements, you can see whether she respects you, values you, or is testing your limits before she starts breaking you down? Would you listen? Or would you, like so many others, ignore the signs until it's too late? Here's the truth. Most men don't realize it until it's already over. The moment a woman speaks to you with disrespect, the clock starts ticking on that relationship. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually it collapses. Because words aren't just sounds, they're signs. They reveal character. They show intent. A woman will tell you who she is, what she believes about you, and what the dynamic will be, if you're paying attention. Most men don't. They hear it but they downplay it, justify it, laugh it off as a joke or say, "She's emotional." But when disrespect happens consistently, it's not a bad day, it's a pattern. The first time, let it go. The second time, take notice. The third. It's no accident, it's a test. Test to see how much you'll allow. Whether you'll stand tall or accept being devalued. And the more you tolerate it, the worse it gets. Because every time you let someone treat you poorly, you're giving them a green light to continue. Don't fool yourself into thinking love will fix this. Love without respect is just manipulation. Emotional abuse in disguise. So what do you do when she says things that undermine your self-worth? That challenge your truth? That wear away your strength? You walk. Not to hurt her, but to protect yourself. Because if she doesn't respect you, she can't love you. And if you stay, you're teaching her that she can hurt you without consequence. And that doesn't just make her lose respect for you, it makes you lose respect for yourself. A man with self-worth doesn't beg for basic decency. He doesn't debate whether he's good enough. He sets a standard. He doesn't try to prove his value. He walks from anyone who won't see it. Let's be clear, this isn't about controlling someone. It's about making sure you're not controlled. When someone speaks to you with sarcasm, contempt, or dismissiveness, and you stay, you've just told them it's okay. And from there, the relationship can only go one way. Downhill. So hear this. When a woman shows you through her words how little she respects you, believe her. Don't rationalize. Don't justify. Don't think your love will change her. Because if you stay in a place where your dignity is on the line, you won't just lose the relationship. You'll lose yourself. Before long, you're in a relationship where you're constantly defending yourself, explaining your worth, or feeling like you're walking on eggshells. But the truth is, you allowed it. And that's not to shame you. It's to awaken you. Because now you get to do something different. You don't fight to be respected. You don't beg for recognition. You make it known through your actions. You will not stay where you're not honored. And if she keeps testing, keeps pushing, keeps trying to reshape you into something you're not, you walk. And here's the paradox. The moment you walk away from disrespect, you gain more power than you ever would by staying and arguing. In that moment you send a message. Not just to her but to yourself. I am a man with standards. I am not here to be tolerated. I am here to be valued. That kind of energy, that level of conviction is magnetic. It doesn't repel women. Filters them. The ones who aren't serious will fall away. The ones who are will be drawn to you like gravity. So the next time you hear something that cuts at your worth, don't debate, don't defend, don't diminish yourself to explain your value. Silently. With certainty. Because a man who respects himself never stays where he's not seen. Now, what if I told you one of the most destructive phrases a woman can say sounds completely harmless? That it's not loud or aggressive. It's soft, almost sweet. But it carries a poison that can eat away at you. If you loved me, you would. Let that sink in. Because almost every man has heard it. Maybe not in those exact words, but in spirit. And it's not just a statement. It's a psychological weapon. It's not love. It's leverage. It's emotional blackmail wrapped in romantic language. And if you don't catch it, if you fall into the trap, you'll find yourself constantly proving your love through surrender. Through shrinking. Through betraying yourself little by little. First it's, if you loved me, you wouldn't hang out with your friends so much. Then, if you loved me, you'd stop talking to that coworker. Then, if you loved me, you'd put me before your career. And before you know it, you've erased every part of yourself that made you who you are. Do you know what happens when you abandon yourself to prove your love? She stops respecting you. Because love is not a test of how much of yourself you're willing to give up. Love isn't about bending to every demand. It's about mutual growth, not one-sided control. A relationship should be a partnership, not a dictatorship disguised as romance. Let's go deeper. This isn't just about relationships. It's about power. The second you let someone control your actions using love as a justification, you've given away your core. And when that happens, your sense of self erodes. You think the great men who shaped the world asked permission to live on their own terms. No, they were rooted in purpose, in mission. And that purpose made them magnetic. The moment you start compromising that purpose to keep someone happy, you become a shadow of the man you once were. And ironically, the woman who demanded that submission, she starts losing interest. Because deep down, she no longer sees a leader, she sees a follower. So what do? You stop playing the game. You stop explaining your worth. You show, with firm action, that your love is not something to be bought through compliance. You set clear boundaries. You enforce them. Not with aggression, but with quiet certainty. And if she continues pushing, testing, manipulating, you walk. Because the second you show that love must be earned through your own erasure, you'll spend the rest of your life trying to measure up to someone who will never be satisfied. That's not love. That's psychological servitude. Now let me hit you with one more phrase. One that sounds completely harmless but can destroy you if you ignore what it truly means. I just want to have fun. Sounds light, doesn't it? Who doesn't want fun? But look closer. Behind that carefree tone is often something far more dangerous. What she's really saying is, I want the benefits of a relationship without the responsibilities. I want pleasure without accountability. I want you, as long as it's convenient. And if you're a man on a mission, someone serious about your growth, your legacy, your values, this should set off every alarm in your head. Because fun doesn't build empires. Fun doesn't stay when life gets hard. Fun doesn't hold your hand when your world is falling apart. A person who's only in it for fun is someone who disappears when the real work begins. When commitment, sacrifice, and loyalty are required. Don't get me wrong, joy matters. Laughter matters. You should enjoy each other. But a foundation built on fun alone, that's like building a house on sand. It crumbles the moment a storm hits. So ask yourself, who are you becoming by entertaining someone who only sees you as a source of amusement? Are you moving forward in life? Or are you just a pit stop on her journey of thrill-seeking? Because a woman who says, I just want fun, isn't looking for a future. She's looking for a distraction. And a man who takes himself seriously doesn't sign up to be someone's temporary entertainment. What do? You walk. Not with anger, not with bitterness, but with clarity. You walk because you know your worth. Because you're not here to be an option. You're not here to be consumed, used, and forgotten. You're here to build, to grow, to become unshakable. So the next time she says, if you loved me, you would. You never do anything right. I don't know why I'm with you. Or, I just want to have fun. Listen. Look deeper. And if those words chip away at your soul, challenge your identity, or dismiss your value, you don't explain. You don't chase. You don't argue. You walk. Because the man who walks away from disrespect is the man who walks straight into his power. And that is the kind of man the world respects. The kind of man women admire. The kind of man you were meant to become.